2020's been one heck of a year, and nothing's been as dramatic and as impactful as COVID-19, the coronavirus. It's had global impact, and it has changed our lives forever. Things are never going to be the same. Welcome to another episode of Surviving Real Life. I'm Matt, this is Daryl, and today we're going to break down 10 ways that the coronavirus has changed our lives forever. Now, before we get into the video, don't forget to hit the subscribe button for more weekly updates and content from us, and share with all of your friends. Leave your comments below. We love to hear from you. So let's get right into it, Daryl. What are some of the ways that coronavirus has changed our lives?
Well, let's start off by saying, what do you remember most about your dad raising you from when you were a kid? Is you meet somebody new, you give them a nice, firm handshake. Now, what is the way to greet somebody in the new 2020 era? A little fist bump, a little elbow, or a little hey from 2 meters away? I think, and this is my number 10, is greetings. Coronavirus has changed greetings. How you greet people, how you meet new people. What do you do? What is the new etiquette? I have no idea. And to put things in perspective, I have a handshake with all my students. Yes, it's a lot to remember. Totally worth it. Now, those kids come to see me, and I'm like, I got nothing. Hey, guy, that's it. It's altered my life. It sucks.
I just bought a car, and I couldn't even shake the dealer's hand. It was weird.
Yep.
All right, so in number 9, more rules to follow. Wear a mask. Stand in line. Line up outside of the store. Be 6 feet apart all the time. Have a bubble. Don't meet with these people. Can't talk to those people. Just more rules in our daily lives, which are important to follow. And in our past videos, we've talked about importance of following these types of rules, but it's never going to go away. Masks are here to stay, guys. Get used to them.
I'm thinking introverted people just must love this shit. Let's be honest. I don't have to meet new people. I don't have to see people. I get to stay at home.
Well, half the time, I don't even clean up my beard.
I'm still in my pajamas. You just can't see it. Number 8 is the fear of coughing and sneezing in public. When I'm at the gym and I have to crank a sneeze out, I'm just like, nope, not happening.
Like,
Because you can hear everybody. What's that?
Your heart races. You know, everyone's going to judge you.
That's right. And even at school as a teacher, like, I honestly don't know what the etiquette is for coughing or sneezing, because we have like new rules where if you have a sore throat, a cough, or whatever, you're expected to go home. So I'm just like, I got a cough, got a little tickle in the throat. I drank water and it went down the wrong hole. I'm like, I'm not coughing. I'm fine. I'm holding it in. So yeah, no coughing, sneezing in public for me anymore.
I had a stuffed nose this morning, and I thought I should probably go get COVID tested. Incidentally, if you need to get a COVID test and you have a stuffed nose, it'll clear you right out because they tickle your brain with that little brush of theirs. Number 7.
Like surgery in like the 1800s, like right through the eyelid, right to your brain.
Number 7 is how we work and how businesses operate. I kind of alluded to this before, but for me, I'm an office worker, and my entire company migrated to working from home. For people that are still in physical locations and can't work from home, it's still drastically impacted how you work, whether you have barriers now, plexiglass in front of you if you're a cashier. How we run our businesses and how we engage with those businesses has changed. How we understand our work lives have changed. So
yep. My number 6 is how we socialize. This doesn't have to be just meet new people. It just could be like your friend circle, could be your work staff, could be going to a grocery store. People have to now get used to proximity. So it's almost like your eye measuring distance. We have to respect the bubble. So like my wife and I have a couple of friends in our circle of people, and I have some friends who just aren't willing to get together because they're very strict with how they believe the bubble affects, and we got to respect it whether we believe it or not. And last, in terms of, it doesn't always go with socialization, but it's just even forgetting the mask, right? Like you're about to go talk to somebody, about to enter a grocery store, go to work, whatever. Where's my mask? You know, I always check my pockets. Do I have my keys? Do I have my wallet? Do I have my phone? No, do I have my mask?
Mm-hmm. We just had somebody come over. We just had somebody come over yesterday, and we spent the first 5 minutes doing the dance of Are we sitting outside? Are we sitting inside? Are you comfortable with that? Are you comfortable with that? Do we have to wear masks? I see you brought one. What do you want to do with it? You know, I don't, I really, it's, yeah, how we socialize is going to be a whole new norm, right? All right, next one for us is number 5, our relationships with our families. This is coming out of the quarantine, really mostly, and what I saw in my neighborhood is more and more families, because you couldn't see anybody else, and I guess you could only watch so much TV, was people coming together and visiting more and missing their families when they couldn't see them and coming together. So maybe a positive byproduct of this, although I know that, there's some stress of being stuck with your family at home all the time, is maybe stronger family units, both within the household and your extended family.
I will say, after spending 6 months, basically just myself at home while my wife was at work with 2 kids, it started off okay, then it got really bad, and then it finished really, really strong. So in the past 2 weeks, going back to work, honestly, it's like a little bit stressful not knowing how their day is, especially when I've controlled everything, not control in terms of like dictate, but I mean, I fed them, I bathed them, I made sure they were safe, and all of a sudden it's like I'm giving them up to different people for the past 2 weeks, and I've been like, I've had anxiety about it. Like
Hmm.
it was actually funny because you told me your story about the bus, like the bus mix up with Sawyer, right, with your kid. Your school almost sent your kid to the wrong house. Well, I was telling my wife the story, and this is like 3:30, so the kid should have been at daycare by then, and she's trying to call the daycare, see how everything's going. She cannot get a hold of daycare. She's like, "Go get them,
Yeah.
go get them now. I know it's my turn, but go get your kids." And I'm like, I'm really debating it, because now I'm starting to panic, because where's my kids? Even though I know they're safe, right? But yeah,
Yeah.
it's, and plus you can't go into the school. Anyway, we'll talk about that in a
Oh,
second.
that's breaking my heart. I'd love to see his class, but anyway. All right, what's number 4?
Um, the new norm.
Hmm.
This is it. I don't think it's going to change. We need to wear masks. We need to respect others' opinions on this. We need to accept that this is how the government is planning our future, in a sense, with education, with finances, with the direction of the medical units. This is the new norm. We don't have a say in it. We need to respect and accept that this is it. Until there's a vaccination, until they find there's a limit to this virus, there's just no other way of looking at it.
Yeah, but even then, I don't know that some of these things we're talking about are ever going to go back to normal.
And that's what
Like, or
yeah,
normal. Like, this is normal now, even
this
after
is the
vaccine.
new normal. That's right.
Yeah.
And you know what? Even, and let's say hypothetically that the vaccine cures everything. I feel like it's changed people in like in this way that they almost look at other people differently, right? Like they're like, "Are you sick? Because I don't want to be around you," or "Has this been sanitized? Are you on the right side of the lane in a grocery store?" I feel like that's now going to be inbred in them, that this is the way people are going to think. And that's
Mhm.
terrifying. Too many Karens in the world again.
Not to always bring up my kids, but if you've ever walked down the street or in a mall or in a store with kids, already people would give you a wide berth because, you might have a cough or they might touch you. Now, people cross the street. They avoid us like the plague. Other parents, depending, but people who don't have kids just stay as far away as possible. And if you go into a store with both your kids, they look at you like, did you have to bring them in here?
Oh
Did you
man,
not just shop by yourself?
right?
Also, to anyone who's been on mat leave, like my wife, mothers, but even fathers who've been on paternal leave, and you've had to do that, and people have said, "Why do you bring your kids to whatever?" I hear you now, and I'm sorry you ever had to go through that.
And I find in the new norm, there's like, it's both extremities, right? Like people are either like super pro, like you need to wear a mask, you need to sanitize, you need to follow these rules, or it's like complete opposite, where I don't give a crap. I don't believe in it. I'm not wearing a mask. I don't care what you say. I'm gonna go about my life. There's almost like there's no in between, right?
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like people either accept it or people don't. I don't know.
Well, I mean, the people who don't are in for a rough time because
Yeah.
I don't think like my company that I work for, we are reopening the office in a limited capacity, but we're never going to be full time back in the office. It's just not going to happen.
No.
And going to stores, limited capacities and laneways and those types of things, those aren't just going to go away. Masks are going to be around for a long time.
I think
People are
so
going to
too.
wear them even after coronavirus is cured or we have a vaccine. You're still going to see people wearing them for their own state of mind or their own peace of mind, right?
Yep, exactly.
All right, in at number three, and this one's pretty easy. We've all seen it. Is travel. How we travel and where we travel has changed. You can't pay me enough to go to Florida right now.
Right?
But even getting on a plane and saying, "Oh, well, we're going to leave the middle seats open." Yeah, no, thank you. Heck, my mom was trying to go and visit her sister-in-law, and the buses are shut down. She can't even get there. So travel is has changed, and geez, even some airlines aren't even going to make it out of this. You know, so.
Yep. My number two is the state of education.
Mhm.
And I'm really hoping this is not for the long run, but seeing it firsthand, what kids are experiencing, it's pretty awful. It's depressing for them, to be honest. And you know what? They've accepted it because they've been around it for 6 months in terms of like the virus. But now that they're back full swing, they're happy to see their friends, but they don't understand why they have to wear a mask. They've been hanging out with them for the past 2 months. They FaceTime them every day. They text them. So like they're not in proximity to them, but they're in communication with them. And now you're telling them that hey, you could sit beside them, you just can't look at them. You can't cough on them. You can't sneeze on the same room. If you have a sore throat, you got to go home. You can't bring in your own pencils. We have to provide you with everything. We have to have an isolation room, ventilation. Like the government's spending tons of money just to change the schools, which could be for the better in a sense if you have an old school. But really, do we need that much hand sanitizer? My hands are dry as hell, like dry like it's midwinter and it's only been 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Like caked, man. But like, I don't know, like, and the option that kids have to go online and then stay in school, like, I feel like you need to pick and choose which one is the more viable situation. Like, which is better for their education. If they're at home, you can't really control how much education provide them. How much of it is them, or how much of it is a parent or copy paste from Google. Like, I feel like there's way less control if they're at home. And I'm not saying I want them to be in a situation where they have the potential to get sick. I'm saying I want them to have the best education possible, and I'm not sure this is the best way to do so.
Well, yeah, but even teachers, like you're in an environment where you're already in a cesspool of illness, being around kids all the time, and you throw COVID into the mix, and it's not a matter of if teachers get sick, it's a matter of when and how many. So
Well,
yeah, like the quality of education for the kids is important, and to be fair, like I sent my son to school, so I'm on the side of going to school, but at the same time I recognize the challenge for teachers of being told, hey, you have to go into this environment and teach these kids. you know um yeah, it's tough. I wish there was a more innovative and better solution for at home learning, but young kids at home with parents that have to work to support the family and contribute to the economy and all those things, and then asking us to teach a grade one online and support them in that is not going to work in the long term for
no,
anyone. So I don't know
exactly.
what the answer is.
I don't think there really is. And I try to tell the students all the time. I said, new decisions are being made daily. Like, there's no experience in this. There's no right or wrong decision that the government can make. They're trying to make the best decision
Hmm.
for everybody. Now, my fear is because we're way up north, is like, are we going to be influenced by like Toronto, for example? So if there's like a mass influx of viruses in Toronto and they shut the schools down there, does that like a trickle effect? Does that happen to Southern Ontario? Does that happen to Northern Ontario? Does it happen across Canada? Or is it going to be like, okay, well, your city has no cases, no new cases, so stay open until there is new viruses, or follow suit?
Well, that's an interesting question because when the province was opening up again, right, Toronto was held back because
Yep.
it was so bad, but everyone else was able to do things.
Yeah.
So on one hand, I think maybe they would do the same, but then I
Yep.
think about it, and we're talking about kids. And if something really bad happens in Toronto, because it's Toronto and it's a huge population center,
Yep.
even if it's not happening where I live or where you live, the
It could.
pressure from people to be like, hey, get my kids out of this classroom could be so great that it shuts everything down.
Yep.
So it's just a huge unknown right now.
Like I said, there's no right or wrong. It's just a best decision at the time.
Okay, and our number one here is prioritizing ourselves. So what do we mean by that? When COVID hit and everything kind of got turned upside down, it was quarantine and you couldn't go anywhere or do anything, or you were taken out of your work environment in some cases, and everything was really bad. Plus 2020 had already been a tough year, and everything else that was going on. And so how did people respond to that? Is we saw like a shift in how people think about their priorities and understanding how important it was to look after their own mental health, their own selves, whether
Yep.
they would pick up a new hobby, learn a new skill, go online and create new communities. People started looking after themselves a little bit more, and it stopped being about, hey, I'm going to put in all those late hours at the office. And it was more like, I'm going to shut the laptop off and I'm going to go for a walk with my wife and my kids or something.
But
Um,
it,
and
but
I
I
hope
think
that's a permanent change.
yeah, because like really, what does our society become? It's a fast paced workplace, right?
Mm,
Your kids are getting babysat. You have less time to spend with your kids. You get home late. You go to McDonald's because you don't have time to make nice suppers. So you're right. This has slowed everything down. Where it's like, well, guess what? We get to make nice fancy suppers. We get to try a barbecue. We get to spend time with each other. So you're right in that sense, for sure.
yeah, like I'm working at home in the afternoons right now. I'm here with my son I can go pick up my son, or I'm here when my wife picks up my son. She's able to be here, and we're able to make our dinners for like 5 o'clock. We
Yeah.
used to eat when we were both working regular hours. We'd pick our kids up at daycare, get home, and cook. We wouldn't be eating till 6:30, bath, bedtime, day's over. So, being able to take some time for ourselves and focus on our family, focus on the things that make us happy, whether it's, lately I've been playing more video games, which has been fun. I've been focusing on some music stuff. It's nice. It's a shift in mindset, and it's actually been kind of nice. And I dare say a positive outcome of all of this.
There's always a silver lining.
There can be if you want to look for it.
Absolutely. One of the things, apart from going over rules for 3 days, that I've tried to really nail into the coffin with the kids is stay positive. Yes, the world's going through something crazy. Yes, we have to wear masks. Yes, we have to be 2 meters apart. Not going to happen. But just stay positive. It's easier to look at the good than it is to focus on the bad.
Hmm. Well, and even if it's not easier, it's more rewarding at the end of the day. You feel like crap at the end of the day if you've just been negative the whole time.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Well, those are our top 10 ways that COVID-19 has changed our lives forever, and that's a collective R. It's everyone's lives. This is global. Of course, we want to hear from you. So please go in the comments and share with us, maybe how COVID's changed your life in a good way, in a bad way. Let's have that conversation. We'd love to hear from you. Don't forget to like the video if you liked it. Hit subscribe for more weekly videos, and share with your friends. We like to build a community here. So we look forward to seeing you next week and on another episode of Surviving Real Life.
See you later.